Welcome back. Before we kick things off today, I want you to ask yourself a super simple but honestly profound question. Does the number on the scale really dictate your health? For decades, we've been taught to look at that simple three-digit number staring back at us to tell us how healthy we are. But today, we're going to challenge that assumption using actual science. All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to systematically dismantle the myth that a single metric can somehow define our overall well-being. We'll be looking at the true science of body size, body composition, and metabolic health. Think of this as your masterclass in understanding what your body's actually made of, and way more importantly, how it functions. Here is our syllabus for today. We'll be defining your best weight, breaking down the BMI, measuring true body composition, looking at fat distribution, the apple versus pear shape, and finishing up with the metabolic health reality. Okay, part 1, defining your best weight as a personal goal. Now, this completely shifts how we view our goals. We constantly hear about finding our ideal weight, right? But actually, the Canadian Adult Obesity Clinical Practice Guidelines uses a much better scientifically grounded term, your best weight. This is literally just the weight that you can achieve and maintain while living your healthiest, happiest life. It is not about a rigid formula, some fad diet, or hitting societal expectations. It's about what actually works for your unique body, your lifestyle, and your genetics. True health requires a truly individual assessment. Moving to part 2, breaking down the BMI and why it's a flawed formula. So if health is so individual, why are we always stepping on a scale at the doctor's office to get our BMI? Well, look at the math. The body mass index is just your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. It is incredibly basic. And yeah, because it's so simple, it's a fantastic, cheap tool for researchers tracking giant population trends over time. But for you, as an individual, because it's just a raw ratio of your total mass to your height, it is deeply flawed as a definitive health diagnostic. And this brings us to something really wild, what researchers call the obesity paradox. When scientists look at massive groups of people, they often find that the lowest risk of dying doesn't necessarily fall strictly into that normal BMI category. No way, right? But major meta-analyses, including data from CDC researchers, actually show that a BMI between 25 and 30, which is classified as overweight, or even mild class 1 obesity, is sometimes linked to better mortality outcomes for certain conditions like coronary artery disease. The health risks simply don't always align into neat little BMI boxes. Look, if you take only one thing away from this section of the explainer, let it be this. BMI has zero clue what your weight is actually made of. It can't distinguish between a pound of muscle, a pound of fat, or a pound of bone. It completely overestimates risk for muscular athletes and wildly underestimates it for frail or elderly folks. Plus, human biology is incredibly diverse. For example, research highlights that the link between a high BMI and mortality is actually way weaker in Black Americans. And for Black women specifically, a higher BMI has sometimes even been associated with a lower death rate. Relying on this one crude metric is just a recipe for misdiagnoses. Which brings us to Section 3, measuring true body composition. What exactly is your mass? If total weight and BMI are out, we need to know what's actually making up the weight on the scale. Every single time you step on that thing, you're weighing 4 completely distinct components: water, lean body mass like your organs and muscles, your fat mass, and minerals like your bones. The scale just lumps them all together into one sum. But as a student of your own health, we have to look at body composition measurements to isolate that fat mass from the lean mass. That ratio tells us a much more accurate story. So how do we do that? Well, here is your quick study guide on the 4 main methods. On the low-cost, super accessible end, you've got the skin fold test using calipers, literally pinching the skin, and BIA devices you can just hold or stand on. They're great, but accuracy kind of varies. Moving up, you've got ADP, commonly known as the bod pod, which uses air displacement. And then there's the absolute gold standard, the DXA scan. It uses low-dose X-rays to map out fat, muscle, and bone density with incredible accuracy, but it's very expensive and usually stuck in a medical facility. Now, if you have a smart scale at home, it probably uses BIA, or bioelectric impedance. Let me give you a real-life analogy for how this works. Think of your body as a massive highway system for electricity. Lean muscle is absolutely packed with water, so it acts like a wide-open fast lane for the electrical current. Body fat, though? Almost no water. It acts like a massive traffic jam. So the machine sends a tiny, completely painless electrical current through you and clocks how fast it travels. More traffic jams mean a slower current, and that is exactly how it estimates your total body fat percentage. All right, part 4, fat distribution, the whole apple versus pear debate and why location matters. Okay, so we figured out how much fat is there. But here's the real kicker. Where is that fat actually located? People who store fat centrally, in what we call an apple shape, are carrying visceral fat. This stuff is bad news because it literally wraps around your vital organs. It's highly metabolically active and pumps out inflammatory hormones, shooting your risk for cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes way up. But then you have the pear shape. This is subcutaneous fat stored just below the skin on the hips, thighs, and buttocks. This fat is basically just chilling out. It's far less active, doesn't significantly bump up your chronic disease risk, and honestly might even be protective. And the best part? You really don't need a $1 million DXA machine to figure out if you're carrying that dangerous visceral fat. A cheap measuring tape is an incredibly scientific tool here. Just measure your waist circumference right level with your belly button, or calculate your waist to hip ratio by dividing your waist measurement by your hip measurement. These simple at-home steps are highly effective at screening for central apple-shaped obesity. Finally, Section 5, the metabolic health reality. This is the ultimate truth of our explainer. Let's put all these pieces together, because when we look under the hood, conventional wisdom completely falls apart. First, meet the metabolically healthy obese, or MHO. You can absolutely be classified as obese on a clinical BMI chart, yet have picture-perfect blood pressure, stellar lipids, and totally normal blood glucose. Your body is just humming along in perfect homeostasis despite carrying extra weight. But then, flip that coin. You have MONW, metabolically obese normal weight. These are folks who look perfectly thin, they slide perfectly into that normal BMI bracket, but man, their lab results tell a vastly different story. On the inside, they're dealing with the exact same insulin resistance, inflammation, and lipid issues we usually associate with severe obesity. You literally cannot judge a book by its cover. And the data on this is absolutely mind-blowing. Check out this 2016 study that analyzed the actual blood pressure, cholesterol, and insulin levels of over 40,000 Americans. Among the normal weight group, a massive 31% were actually metabolically unhealthy. Meanwhile, nearly half, 47%, of all overweight people and 29% of people in the obese category were perfectly metabolically healthy. A person's body size by itself just fails as an accurate standalone health grade. All right, class dismissed. But before we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We've proven today that thinness does not automatically equal health, and fatness absolutely does not automatically equal sickness. True health is measured through your blood pressure, your glucose, and sustainable habits, your best weight. So if you can't judge health just by looking at someone's size, how are you going to change the way you measure your own true health moving forward? Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Keep asking great questions, and